Are you frustrated with getting rejected for being too nice, or you're being too nice but it's holding you back? Well, stay tuned for today's video where I'm going to discuss why you may be being rejected for being too nice and what you can do about it. I'm Johnny Pardo. I'm a self-esteem and confidence author, coach and speaker, helping you to increase your confidence and self-love levels. So, I used to be very much a people pleaser. I used to be very much trying to get people's approval, to feel good about myself. And I actually had a lack of self-love and even self-hate at times. Not a lack of self-hate, just didn't like myself. I had the self-hate, that's what I meant. But now I'm in a position where I'm still nice, and don't get me wrong, I'm not horrible to anyone, and people who know me knows I'm still a nice person, and I get on with quite a lot of people. Obviously, not everyone in the world will like me, but that's impossible. If you want everyone to like you in the world, say nothing, do nothing, just be silent. But no one wants a life like that, let's be honest. But yeah, I still get on with people now, but I'm a lot more assertive. And when I started being assertive and not being super nice and trying to people please all the time, I started to get results. I started to progress in my career. I started to get better with my friendships. My dates started to get better, and generally across life, I started to get results. And I'm going to emphasize it again. There's nothing wrong with being nice. Being nice is great. In fact, obviously that'd be great if the world had more of that, because there's an awful lot of violence and hate in the world. But being too nice can get rejection, and I don't want you hurting because you've been too nice and you're not respecting yourself, but you're trying to get that approval or that love from someone else. And today I'm not just going to talk about dating, although that's one of the areas. I'm going to talk about career, your friendships, and generally across life, how you need to love yourself more rather than trying to get approval from other people, because I used to be there. And when I started to changing myself a little bit but still keeping myself who I am, then I started to get results in my life. So stick around for why and what I did. So why are people rejected for being too nice? Well, when you're too nice, now being nice is fine, but if it's being too nice because you want that approval from someone else, or you want that respect from someone else, well, you shouldn't need to get it from someone else. You should love yourself first. And it's usually because we've got a lack of love for ourselves. So we're trying to get that approval or that gap from someone else. Now, the examples I hear a lot is in the dating world. We talk about girls go for guys who are the bad guys rather than the nice guys. Now, I don't think that's true from my own experience, from my friends, and generally what I've learned from the theories and just putting life experience together. I think the girls want a guy who's grounded, who's nice, who's respectful to them, but they don't want someone who's trying to get that approval from them to like himself. Because if someone's perceived as weak and doesn't really like themselves, then they're not going to feel as confident and therefore brave and bold in life. And that's what people will start seeing. So therefore, you need to start loving yourself, because when you start loving yourself and working yourself constantly, whether it's the dating example I've used just there, whether it's your career, or whether it's your day-to-day life, you're going to start to attract the right things. And I had trouble in my career as well when I used to be trying to please, and I disagreed with some ideas in my head, but I wouldn't even dare put my hand up and ask a question. If I say something or don't understand something, I'd be seen as going against them. I'd worried someone wouldn't like me. But actually I wasn't getting any results. I was getting rejected after rejection on jobs. But when I started being more assertive, putting myself out there, not worrying what other people thought as much, I started to get results. So in summary of why we try to be too nice to please others is because we don't really like ourselves. And therefore we're trying to get that like or that love or that respect from other people by trying to people please them. So let's now go into how exactly we can get over this. So it starts with loving yourself and being more confident in yourself, and only you can train you to do that. So the first tip is retraining the subconscious. The subconscious drives a lot of our behavior, and it's our subconscious, it's unconscious. We don't see it, and we can't understand some of our behaviors and actions sometimes. And that's because we might have these negative beliefs about ourselves inside of us that we don't even realize are there. And it can be formed from many negative experiences, from traumas or mini traumas. Even when someone said horrible things to you as a kid, that might keep you thinking that you're not good enough. And usually when we're people pleasing, it's because we've got the belief that we don't think we're good enough. And I had that. Even to this year, I had the belief I am not good enough. And now and then it might pop up, but I'm able to acknowledge it and work through it more and more. So training yourself with new beliefs to go into your subconscious. And how do you do that? You do that by saying these new beliefs over and over again. So start saying, I am enough, I love myself, I am worthy, I am brilliant. But there have to be things you really, really believe. Else your brain starts to pick up on it and say, oh, it's rubbish. So if you start going around saying, I'm a multi-millionaire with the most beautiful wife of my dreams, and you're not, your brain starts to clock onto that one. So you need to start saying stuff that is believable, like, I'm willing to work on myself. I'm willing to love myself over and over again. And I had to say I'm willing to love myself until I started to get to the point where I could say I love myself. So that's my first point. You've got to reprogram the subconscious. Tip number 2, and this really came apparent to me when I went on a spiritual psychology workshop. There's an inner child within us. And this inner child within us is like the 2 or 3 year old version of us. So if you imagine you're always protecting a kid, or imagine, if you can't imagine that, imagine you're protecting someone close to you, who you really love, who you're very close to. And think about how you'd protect them. Now, if someone comes in and doesn't treat them right, how would you defend them? Think about it. You would be like, actually, I disagree. I'm not happy with the way you're talking to me, or I don't quite get that point. Think about protecting that person, but make that person yourself. So if someone starts talking to you not in a nice way, starts speaking down to you, just say, excuse me, I'm not really happy with the way you're talking to me, or I don't quite understand that point. What's the point you're making? And you might shock people and you might come out of your comfort zone, but you've got to do that to change a little bit. So start to think of someone really close to you or someone you love and you would protect, and make it yourself. So that's my second point. Defending yourself and when I say defending, not in a kind of aggressive way, but just looking after yourself as you would someone very close to you, or the 2 or 3 year old version of yourself. My third point is look at someone who really gets stuff done, someone who's so assertive, gets stuff sorted, doesn't take any rubbish from anyone, and try and tailor that to yourself. Again, you do not want to become someone else. You want to be you. You want to love being you. But look at the qualities they've got that make them assertive, that make them not need to people please, that have that self-respect, and then start modeling that. You don't have to become the person. So for example, I've talked about this before, but I think Harvey Specter is awesome off Suits, but I'm not Harvey Specter. I don't walk into places going, I don't care, and although he's quite cool and he's not always like that, but don't walk into places going, I don't care, and all due respect, you're talking bullshit, or whatever he says. He comes up with quite things, and has that smirk on his face. But what I will start doing is I'll start making my point known when I disagree, not like Harvey would, but again, I'll keep the eye contact, I'll talk, and you have to fake it sometimes in the beginning a little bit. But really the point is, look at people. They don't even have to be famous. It could be someone in your work who you think they've got a real good assertiveness about them. They've got this real good sense of confidence, and start modeling some of those good qualities you want without changing into them. So that's my third point. Use a role model to start getting over that super niceness, to be able to love and respect yourself more by imitating that behavior. And my final point is to overcome this super niceness, this people pleasing. You've got to do things that go against that. So you've got to take actions that come out of your comfort zone. Now, I'm not saying go into work or go into that date or go into things and definitely start creating arguments. I'm not saying that, doing it on purpose. I am saying go and do things that bring you out of your comfort zone. So an extreme example could be going into a shop and lying down on the floor and then having people looking at you going, what are you doing? That's coming out of your comfort zone. You're not people pleasing. You're not trying to be super nice. You're just being a little bit awkward. You're just being a bit tricky. Now, if that's too much of a jump, start to put your hands up in meetings, or probably virtual meetings at the moment. And you're probably not able to lie down in a shop because it's one way. But even then, that could be a challenge. But yeah, start putting your hand up in meetings, virtual meetings, whatever, and then start making points when you don't quite understand something. Even that can be a bit of a comfort zone jump for some people. My heart used to race like anything when I started doing it, just to put my hand up in a meeting for the 30, 40 people. But then I did it, I started to feel good. I started to feel the buzz. I've actually done something out of my comfort zone. So think about how you can challenge a little bit more. And if that's too much of a jump, just don't become a keyboard warrior, but maybe if you're on an online forum or a Facebook group and someone says something you don't quite agree with, maybe just don't go out arguing or attacking someone, but maybe just make your point known. Maybe just make your point. So start building up this kind of assertiveness and confidence about you, but still have that nice factor, but going out there and making your point. Because when you start to love yourself a lot more, you start to progress a lot further when you come from that real place of confidence. So that's my final point. So what I'd love to know from you is, I've talked about being nice, and my point again is being nice is great and it's fantastic, but being too nice to people please and get validation from others is not necessarily the way to go, because you eventually start to wear yourself out and you don't feel as great, and therefore you can't be as much of an impact saying what you have to say, which could be really important to people. But I want to get your views. What do you think about being nice? Can you be too nice? Just comment below. So to wrap up today, being nice is fantastic and it's great when people are positive and have that positive effect on others. But being too nice, people start to lose respect for you if you're trying to people please or trying to get validation from them. Unless they're also from that place and they're trying to get validation, in which case you both end up trying to get validation from each other. So whether that's in dating, career or friendships. So people can try and be too nice, and that can cause rejection. So think about how you could be nice, but tailor it with different qualities that I've talked about, how you can try different things to therefore be yourself, but say what you want to and increase your self-love and confidence at the same time. If you want some more on how you can increase your self-love, your self-esteem, your confidence, then if you haven't already, my latest book, The Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset, is available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle. So that might be a good resource for you to check out. And of course, if you want to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel or hit the bell to be notified when I release a new video every Tuesday and Thursday. So thank you for watching today. I do hope you are able to take out some points from today's video. Again, continue to be nice and treat people with respect, but treat yourself with respect more rather than looking for validation from others. I'll leave you with that and I'll catch you in the next video.